If you found the previous clip a bit depressing, fear not. The sun just came up and it's another fun-filled, happy day at Pluralsight. And that's because IPFS is a technology that, if enough people adopt it, can restore the distributedness of the internet and stabilize its underlying infrastructure. The fact is that IPFS is already a major player in the online content world. As of 2018, there had already been more than 5 billion files uploaded through the IPFS network, and 2019 saw usage increase by a multiple of 30. And serving full static websites exclusively through IPFS is not only simple and reliable, but also quite popular. And even if IPFS is not yet as widely adopted as more traditional hosting services, content that already lives in IPFS networks will probably survive the apocalypse and remain accessible and healthy. That's because IPFS content exists within its own addressing universe and doesn't require HTTP to get around. In this clip, we're going to talk a bit about the way that universe is structured. To follow along, you might as well install the IPFS desktop app. To get that done, head over to the IPFS-Shipyard GitHub page and then go into the IPFS-desktop repo. If you scroll down, you'll eventually see full installation instructions for your favorite operating system. But come back up just a bit. The quick install shortcuts might be all you need. It's brew for macOS, choco for Windows, and then see installation options for Linux. That's a bit misleading. Any Linux distro, like my Ubuntu, with snap installed, should be fine with snap install IPFS-desktop. Take a minute or two on your own to read through the intro screen. I'm going to hit the status icon, which will show me some basic environment information. The advanced toggle will expand the depth of what I can see. The chart at the bottom shows how much network bandwidth is being used up. But what I really wanted to show you is the Files tab. These are files or folders that I imported from my own file system. Within seconds, a new file will become visible and fully accessible to the entire internet, even though technically it hasn't left my computer. How can you, on the other side of the world, open and view this file? By copying the link from this pop-up. In fact, I'll do that right now with the link to this folder on some of my shorter videos that I uploaded a while back. On regular browsers, the link will take me to a gateway provided on the IPFS.io website. That'll read the long hash that makes up the CID and send the browser off to fetch my content. But the Brave browser has its own IPFS gateway built right in, so I can strip away the normal domain information and just replace it with IPFS:// followed by the hash. That's it. My computer is now an internet server. Of course, since it's just my computer, the service will only work while my computer happens to be running. So we're right back to that single point of failure, aren't we? Well, IPFS addresses that problem in two ways. The first approach hangs on IPFS's peer-to-peer architecture. Once your files are online, anyone can download them for themselves. But as soon as that happens, your clients can themselves become peers and serve their own identical copies of your content. Much like the familiar BitTorrent, if enough peers choose to serve your file, it'll become universally available. The second approach involves pinning your content to a dedicated pinning service. Such services will guarantee you availability. We'll learn more about those in coming modules. Either way, the whole thing is held together by distributed hash tables, DHTs, which serve to map user content requests with a peer who's storing and serving the content. DHTs are publicly shareable and, obviously, their contents are very public. VPNs and isolated networks where privacy is important can use LAN DHTs instead. One more thing. As I'm sure you've already noticed, there's another problem with those awful hashed names. How's anyone supposed to find you if it's not humanly possible to remember or even type your address? At this point, The simplest solution is to associate your IPFS content with a legacy DNS domain name. That's easy to do, and will also be covered later in this course. I'll just finish up this module with 2 thoughts. The first is to note that the people running the project warn us that at this point in early 2021 at least, IPFS is in heavy development. That means there could well be security vulnerabilities in the system, and they don't recommend that you necessarily use the network in production. Having said that, the organization itself reports on many successful production deployments. So I guess the message is, dive in, but keep your eyes open. Next, a word about IPFS documentation. Pretty good. Okay, that was 2 words. There are plenty of great how-to guides for doing just about anything you'll want spread across the internet. But there are also 2 excellent and extensive official repositories of documentation. The first is in the docs section at ipfs.io itself, and the second is hosted and maintained by the Internet Content Delivery and Infrastructure giant, Cloudflare. Find this useful? Why not follow the link in the description and head over to view the complete course on Pluralsight. And of course, for even more technology goodness, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.